It began with laughter, a casual, almost harmless conversation between a madam and her maid. "Do you wear panties?" she asked jokingly. The maid smiled and said no. It should have ended there. But then came the sentence that changed everything. "So why does my husband know?" The air shifted. The maid admitted he had asked her. "Just a question," she said. "Just curiosity." But curiosity doesn't cross certain lines. And in that moment, something inside the wife awakened. Not anger yet, but instinct. When she confronted her husband, he denied everything instantly. Too instantly. His voice steady, his eyes unbothered. But now, she was watching. Watching the glances, the timing, the subtle distance between words and actions. What started as a strange conversation turned into quiet surveillance inside her own home. And then she saw it. Not a dramatic confession, not a hotel receipt, just enough truth in their body language to confirm what her heart already knew. By the time the affair unraveled, it wasn't just betrayal that destroyed them. It was the realization that everything began with one careless question that should never have been asked. I was folding laundry in the bedroom when I heard laughter from downstairs. Light. Easy. The kind that made me smile without knowing the joke. I walked down to find Camila, our housekeeper, giggling near the kitchen counter. She had been with us for almost 2 years. Reliable. Quiet. The kind of person who never caused problems. I leaned against the doorframe and grinned at her. "What's so funny?" I asked. She looked up, still smiling, and waved her hand like it was nothing. "Just something silly," she said. I tilted my head, curious now. "Come on, share it." She hesitated, then shrugged. "We were just talking about, underwear." I laughed. It seemed harmless. Women talk about everything, right? I poured myself coffee and joined the joke. "Okay, I'll bite. What about underwear?" Camila shifted her weight, suddenly a little uncomfortable. "I was just saying, I don't really wear any. It's more comfortable that way." I nodded. Cultural differences, personal preference, whatever. It didn't matter to me. Then I said it without thinking. "Does my husband know that?" I was joking, completely joking, but her face changed, just slightly. A flicker of something I couldn't name. She looked down. He asked me once." The coffee cup froze halfway to my lips. "What?" Camila stammered. "It was nothing, Mrs. Bellamy, just a random question. He was curious, I think." I set the cup down carefully. My hands were steady, but my heart had started racing. "When did he ask you this?" She avoided my eyes. "A few weeks ago. Maybe a month. I don't remember exactly." A month. A month of my husband knowing something intimate about our housekeeper. Something he had no business asking. I forced myself to stay calm. "And what did you say?" She swallowed. I told him the truth. I didn't think it was a big deal. I nodded slowly. "Right. Not a big deal." I walked upstairs without another word. My legs felt mechanical, my mind was racing but also perfectly still. I found my husband, Derek, in his home office, typing on his laptop. He looked up when I entered and smiled. "Hey babe, everything okay?" I closed the door behind me. "Did you ask Camila if she wears underwear?" His fingers stopped moving. For just a second. Then he laughed. "What? No? Who told you that?" I crossed my arms. "She did." His smile didn't fade, but something in his eyes shifted. "It was a joke, Corinne. We were talking about laundry or something. Don't make it weird." Too fast. His answer came too fast. No confusion, no surprise, just immediate dismissal. I studied his face. The same face I had loved for 11 years. The same face that kissed me goodnight and promised me forever. "Why would you even joke about that?" I asked quietly. He shrugged, already turning back to his screen. "I don't know, it just came up. You're overthinking, miss." Maybe I was. But something in my chest tightened anyway. I left the room without pushing further, but I didn't stop thinking about it. Not for a second. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay beside Derek, listening to him breathe. He seemed unbothered, peaceful. I replayed the conversation in my head. The way Camila had looked down. The way Derek had laughed too quickly. Maybe it really was nothing. Maybe I was being paranoid. But instinct doesn't lie. And mine was screaming. I got up quietly and went to the bathroom. I stared at myself in the mirror. 11 years of marriage, 2 kids, a beautiful home. Was I really going to let one strange question unravel all of that? I didn't know yet. But I wasn't going to ignore it either. The next morning, I watched them differently. Derek came downstairs for coffee. Camila was wiping down the counters. He said good morning to her. She nodded back. Nothing unusual, nothing dramatic. but I noticed the way he glanced at her when he thought I wasn't looking. It was brief. So brief I almost missed it, and the way she turned away just a little too quickly. I poured orange juice for the kids and kept my face neutral. If something was happening, I wasn't going to scare it into hiding. I was going to watch. Quietly. Carefully. Over the next few days, I started paying attention to everything. The way Derek suddenly cared about household details he used to ignore. "Did Camila finish organizing the garage?" he asked one evening. I looked up from my book. "Since when do you care about the garage?" he shrugged. "Just curious." He had never been curious before. He also started coming home earlier, not to spend time with me or the kids, but to be around when Camila was still working. He would linger in the kitchen, make small talk, offer to help her carry things. I said nothing. I just watched. One afternoon, I pretended to leave for a dentist appointment. I drove around the block and parked 2 streets away. Then I walked back to the house through the backyard. I slipped in through the side door and stood in the hallway. I could hear them talking in the living room. His voice was low, warm, the tone he used to use with me. "You work too hard," he was saying. "You should take a break." Her laugh was soft, nervous. "I'm fine, Mr. Bellamy." "Derek," he corrected. "You can call me Derek." I leaned against the wall and closed my eyes. This was real. I didn't confront him. Not yet. Instead, I started securing my life. I called my lawyer, a sharp woman named Fiona Reeves. I explained everything calmly. The question, the behavior, the instinct. She listened without interrupting. "Do you have proof?" she asked. "Not yet," I admitted, "but I will." She paused. "Corinne, even without proof, his behavior is concerning. Let's start protecting your assets quietly, just in case." I agreed. Over the next week, I moved money from our joint account into a separate one under my name. Small amounts, nothing he would notice. I documented every transfer, every receipt, every inconsistency. At home, I became sweeter, calmer. I stopped questioning him. I smiled more. I agreed with everything he said. He visibly relaxed. He thought I had let it go. He thought he was safe. Men always underestimate the quiet ones. One evening, he mentioned Camila might need a raise. "She's been working really hard," he said. I nodded. "That's thoughtful of you." He seemed pleased with himself. I wanted to scream, but instead I poured him more wine and asked about his day. He talked for 20 minutes without asking about mine once. Camila started avoiding me. She used to chat while she worked. Now she was silent. Polite, but distant. Guilt has a way of showing itself. I didn't push her. I didn't need her confession. I needed evidence. I checked our home security system. We had cameras at the front door and garage. I scrolled through footage from the past month. Most of it was routine. But then, I found it. A Tuesday afternoon when I had been at a parent-teacher meeting. Derek came home 2 hours early. Camila's car was already in the driveway. They stood too close in the doorway. He touched her shoulder. She smiled. I made copies of everything. The footage, the bank statements. Screenshots of texts where Derek had suddenly become very interested in our cleaning schedule. I stored them in a cloud account he didn't know existed. Fiona reviewed everything. "This isn't definitive proof of an affair," she said carefully. "But it's enough to establish a pattern of inappropriate behavior. Combined with financial documentation, we have a strong case." I nodded. "What's next?" She leaned forward. "You decide when you're ready, but when you move fast. Don't give him time to hide anything." I thanked her and left. I wasn't ready yet, but I was close. Camila resigned 3 weeks later. She handed me a handwritten note. "Family emergency," it said. "I have to go back to Honduras. Thank you for everything." She wouldn't meet my eyes. I didn't question. I just nodded. "I just understand. Good luck, Camila." She left that afternoon. Derek seemed upset. "She was really good at her job," he muttered. I agreed. "We'll find someone else." But he didn't want someone else. He wanted her. I could see it in the way he stared at his phone, the way he checked messages constantly. She had run, and he was lost without her. That weekend, I suggested we go out for dinner. Just the 2 of us. Derek seemed surprised but agreed. We went to an Italian place we used to love. Over pasta, I asked him gently, "Are you happy?" He looked up, confused. "Of course. Why?" I shrugged. "You just seemed distant lately." He reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "I'm fine, Corinne. Really." I smiled, but I was studying him. The way he lied so easily. The way he believed I didn't know. I let him think he was safe a little longer. Sometimes the best revenge is patience. One evening, I was cleaning out his jacket pockets before taking them to the dry cleaner. I found a receipt, a jewelry store, a purchase made 2 weeks ago. I hadn't received any jewelry. I took a picture of it and sent it to Fiona. She replied within minutes. Do you recognize this? I didn't. The next day, I went to the jewelry store. I showed them the receipt. Can you tell me what was purchased? The clerk hesitated. I smiled. It's for my husband. I want to make sure I thank him properly. She softened. A silver bracelet, very delicate, beautiful piece. I thanked her and left. A bracelet I had never seen. For someone who wasn't me. I drove home in silence. The anger didn't come, just cold clarity. Derek had spent our money on another woman, on our housekeeper, in our house, with our children asleep upstairs. I parked in the driveway and stared at our front door. This place used to feel like home. Now it felt like a crime scene. I went inside and made dinner like nothing had happened. Derek kissed my cheek when he got home. Smells great, he said. I smiled. Thanks, honey. I called Fiona the next morning. I'm ready. She didn't ask questions. Come to my office this afternoon. Bring everything. I did. We spent 3 hours going through documents, bank statements, security footage, the jewelry receipt, text messages where Derek had asked me to give Camila a key to the house months ago. Fiona built the case methodically. This is good, Corinne. Really good. When do you want to file? I thought about my kids, my life, everything I had built. Next week, I said. I need to prepare them first. She nodded. Take your time, but once you're ready, we move fast. That Sunday, I told my children that Daddy and I needed to talk about some grown-up things soon. My daughter Riley was 10. My son Cameron was 7. They didn't fully understand, but they sensed something was wrong. I hugged them both. No matter what happens, we love you so much. Riley looked up at me with worried eyes. Are you and Daddy fighting? I kissed her forehead. Sometimes adults have to make hard choices, but you'll always be safe. Derek walked in and saw us. Everything okay? I smiled. Perfect. He looked relieved. He had no idea what was coming. On Monday morning, Derek left for work like always. I waited 30 minutes. Then I placed the divorce papers on the dining room table. Right next to printed copies of the security footage, the jewelry receipt, bank statements highlighting his suspicious purchases, and a typed summary of everything I knew. I didn't write a note. The evidence spoke for itself. I took the kids to my sister's house. Can they stay here for a few days? I asked. She saw my face and nodded immediately. As long as you need. I hugged her. Then I drove back home and waited. Derek came home at 6. I was sitting in the living room, calm. He walked in smiling. Hey babe, good day? I gestured toward the dining room. There's something on the table for you. He frowned but walked over. I watched his face as he saw the papers. Confusion first, then recognition. Then panic. He picked up the security footage printouts. His hand started shaking. Corinne, what is this? I stood up. It's the truth, Derek. The truth you thought I'd never find. He tried to laugh. This is insane. You're overreacting. I walked closer. Am I? He stammered. Denied. Deflected. Just talking. You're blowing this out of proportion. I stayed calm. You asked our employee intimate questions. You bought her jewelry. You came home early to be alone with her. You used our money, our home, our trust. He ran his hands through his hair. She meant nothing, Corinne. I swear. It was stupid. A mistake. I picked up the divorce papers. Sign them. He stared at me. You can't be serious. I didn't blink. I've never been more serious in my life. He tried to reach for me. I stepped back. Don't. Derek hired a lawyer. He fought the divorce for 3 months, but Fiona was better. She presented every piece of evidence. The financial misuse, the inappropriate relationship, the breach of trust. The judge was a woman in her 50s who had seen this exact story 100 times. She ruled in my favor. I kept the house. I kept primary custody. I kept the retirement accounts I had funded while Derek found himself in 3 different careers. He walked away with his car and his guilt. Our mutual friends heard the truth through legal proceedings. He stopped showing up to gatherings. His reputation crumbled quietly. 6 months later, I stood in my newly renovated kitchen. The same kitchen where everything had started with one careless question. Riley and Cameron were laughing in the backyard. I had enrolled them in therapy. We were all healing. Slowly. I never saw Camila again. I heard through someone that she had moved to another state, started fresh somewhere else. I didn't blame her. Entirely. Derek was the one who had vows. Derek was the one who betrayed everything. But she had played her part. And both of them had paid for it. Sometimes I think about that moment. The laughter, the joke, the question that changed everything. Do you wear panties? It should have been nothing, but it revealed everything. It showed me who Derek really was when he thought no one was watching. It showed me I was stronger than I ever knew. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't fall apart. I watched. I planned. I protected myself and my children. And then I walked away. Derek called once, months after the divorce was final. I didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. The question had been asked, and I had found my answer.